Shall we play a game? Hi everyone, I'm George Farrar and welcome back to Memories for the People. And today, let's talk about War Games, the big summer movie of 1983, or at least one of the big summer movies of 1983 that I saw in the movie theater with my family back then. And tensions were high in 1983 between the United States of America and what was then known as the Soviet Union. We know it today, of course, as Russia. And there was so much at stake geopolitically. And so leave it to Hollywood to put together a great family movie called War Games. I like this ad for it. Is it a game or is it real? And so we're going to jump right into talking about the movie. It is one of my most favorite movies from the 80s of all time. I think it was one of the most awesome 80s movies ever, starring Matthew Broderick, Dabney Coleman, Sheedy. A great cast of characters and an excellent set and an excellent story. A real awesome experience. So I want to welcome you. Okay, I want to welcome you. And here we have a shot. Welcome distinguished visitors from the city of Birmingham. Speaking of the set, an amazing set they put together, and it really was intriguing. Now, back then, of course, in 1983, I was 8 years old, and I was really impressed. Now, I want to let you know, spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about the movie, so if you haven't yet seen the movie and you want to see it before I talk about it, come back later. Now, this has the strongest opening I've ever seen. Turn your key, sir. Turn your key. Now, this guy ends up holding a gun, okay, in a missile silo on his partner, his work partner. Basically, they are given the codes to launch a nuclear missile. Now, they don't know that it's a drill. They can't really know that it's a drill. So the older guy in this one, he refuses to turn the key. Okay, so because he's concerned that it's not just a test, not just a drill, that it's the real thing. And so he's going, hey, pick up the phone, call before I vaporize all these people. Okay, so it got my attention. Boy, I went, wow, what a start to a movie. And so you start to see what the big dilemma is. And this guy's concerned about nuclear war. And here we see from the 1950s a nuclear test blast, thermonuclear test blast. And so the stakes in the 1980s were high between the two big superpowers. It was at the height of the Cold War. Ronald Reagan was our president. This was before Mikhail Gorbachev came along as premier of the Soviet Union. He wouldn't take office until 1985. Now, one of my favorite characters was General Beringer. And so he's in the war room, and he is skeptical of a plan that Dr. McKittrick, played by Dabney Coleman, puts forth to what they call take them out of the loop, take out the human element, the people turning the keys, and hand it over to a big computer system. Okay, automation isn't just the talk of the 21st century. Back then, it was the talk of the 20th century. And here you see some back and forth between one of Dr. McKittrick's assistants and the General Beringer. And I just liked General Beringer. He was very kind of folksy in his talk. And he had a lot of skepticism about the Whopper, okay, War Operations Plan Response. And you see this big, huge computer. And the idea being that this computer can would be empowered to essentially start World War III. Now, all of a sudden, after all this decision and it gets implemented, we have Matthew Broderick and Sheedy, Matthew Broderick as David Lightman and Sheedy as Jennifer, and they're just living a suburban lifestyle as high schoolers in the Pacific Northwest. Now, the great thing about it was, another thing that got my attention was that, hey, the David Lightman was particularly shady. He actually would go into the school's computers and he would change his grades. Okay, but he was really into computers, and that really attracted me. My father was into computers. He actually built a Heathkit computer and all that. So I wouldn't later get into computing until later, but I would get really fascinated with it from this movie. And you see the phone there. He was actually going through in the movie and dialing up numbers to get into places where he could just simply pay, or where he could simply play the early form of computer games. Okay, so he has this entire setup, and computing is his hobby. It's his thing. And again, early 1980s. Now he somehow gets into NORAD, okay, the Defense Department, and he actually gets into the Whopper. And here it has strategy games based on a computer program that had long been designed years prior, and we'll get to that in a second. And he, of course, wants the option for global thermonuclear war. He thinks it'll be a cool game to play. Okay, so he has these selections: chess, poker, fighter, combat, guerrilla engagement, desert warfare, etc., etc. And hey, he starts playing it. He invites his girlfriend over, and they have kind of an awkward hangout in his room. And again, here you get the thing of, wow, I mean, as a youngster, you go, wow, this is real neat. I mean, I was really, really impressed with the movie. And I'm telling you, there are lots of lighting effects and things like that are done in the movie that really get you going. And so he unwittingly scares NORAD. They think that a Soviet nuclear strike is about to happen, and they start projecting out whether they would need to go ahead and defend the United States, okay? So, and strike out to actually launch the missiles, and the computer is waiting to go ahead and to do that, but it doesn't. All of it turns out that it's all an illusion. That all of this stuff is being put up, but none of it's real. Okay. Now that's a common theme. I think it's something to think about when people are looking at things. What's real and what's not? Is it a game? Or is it real? Now, they trace back that he actually got into the NORAD system. And so they arrest him. And through I would have to say a pretty silly Hollywood thing, they actually bring him to the facility. He somehow gets away, gets into the facility, starts trying to interface with the computer to stop it. Now, enter Professor Falcon. He actually gets away, gets in Matthew Broderick, the David Lightman character. They break away. He actually goes off with Jennifer. They actually go to Dr. Stephen Falcon. They trace down who he was and how he originated the computer program. And again, here's another character, a real cool character. There's nothing better than, and what I admire almost is a smart, somewhat alienated, bitter genius, aloof from the world, and he's content just to let the computer play the whole thing out and for the world to be beyond the kingdom come. But both David and Jennifer convince him, hey, we need to go try to stop this. And so somehow they talk their way into the war room with some hilarious back and forth, and he's stunned to see all that's happening. And so they interface with Joshua and the computer program, and they get it to play tic-tac-toe. And it plays itself. They have it play itself, and it keeps going. It keeps playing and playing and playing and playing. And it realizes it can't win. Okay, it can't win this game. The strategies and all of that. So it tries to actually start launching the missiles. It gets the launch code, okay, and starts to automatically launch. But it starts going through all the different strategies to find the best one. And you see all the simulations, all the lighting, fascinating. You see everything theoretically blowing up, right? But it's not, right? So here we have it interface. It's talking back, and it says, hey, greetings, Professor Falcon. Replies back, hello. A strange game, the computer says. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess? So here we kind of see everyone working together on this whole thing, and it kind of, I guess, everything, you get this happy ending. You get some really great music at the end. You get some lessons learned, I think, And you get a chance to learn about machine learning, about people. But I think in some ways you can extrapolate this out to the way where things are today, right? Some things, is it a game or is it real? Sometimes the only winning move is not the play, right? Sometimes you prefer, why don't we play a nice game of chess, right? The idea being is that people can get drawn into a construct, and that's why the human element is important, right? I learned a lot off the movie, and it was the classic 1980s movie. When you go back and you look at it, the technology, the culture, what was going on at the time, the politics, it doesn't get any more 80s than that. I want to thank you for watching. There's more to come here on the channel, Memories for the People. I want to invite you to please subscribe, share, tell me what you think. Take it easy. See you later.